You're rejecting Jesus when you don't believe. When you reject Jesus, you will be eternally separated from God the Father. There's only one way, and it's through Jesus. Jesus spoke these words to the Jewish leaders who rejected his claim, failing to see him as the promised Messiah, and thus remained spiritually blind to the truth. When you reject Jesus, you reject truth. Let's go through a couple of scriptures. Let's look at where the scribes and the Pharisees questioned Jesus' authority to forgive sins, saying, "Who can forgive sins but God alone?" You'll find that in Luke 5:21 and also Mark 2:7. Who can forgive sins alone but God? They are thinking this because Jesus told the paralyzed man his sins were forgiven. He did that before he even healed him. He forgave his sin before he even healed him. And they wanted to say that's blasphemy because Jesus said, your sins are forgiven. And Jesus come back and address that. He said, which is easier, to forgive sins or to say, rise and walk? See, the Pharisees and the teachers of the law were thinking, who is this fellow who speaks blasphemy? They don't know him. Jesus plainly told them in John 8, why don't you understand my speech? Because my word is not in you. That's why they don't understand. Why they're not understanding who can forgive sins, that's forgiving the sins. They like, Jesus, this man is bold. Who do he think he is? He gonna say your sins are forgiven? Jesus said, which one is easier? For me to say his sins are forgiven or rise and walk? Look, don't you know that Jesus had power to forgive sins right here on earth? And he can do it because he is God. He is the God man in the flesh. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law was thinking, who is this fellow who speaks blasphemy? Who can forgive sins but God alone? Exactly. And that's why Jesus said, your sins are forgiven. Why does this fellow speak like that? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?